Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I am an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I cannot be any more grateful. It's Friday. That means we have our Friday night crosstalk meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. If you're local to the Huntington, West Virginia area, come on down and hang out with us tonight. 5747 East Pea Ridge Road in Huntington for the quickest hour in recovery. We'll see you there. I want to talk today about a topic that I think it affects, in my mind, two groups of people predominantly. It's one of the biggest challenges and obstacles that I see people face. I faced it myself. There's a group of people who are actively using, actively drinking, but they're on the fence. They know they need to get to the sober side of that fence, and they just can't seem to pull that trigger and commit to it. And then there's a group of people who are actively trying to stop. They're actively trying to get clean. Maybe they're in treatment. Maybe they've got sponsors. They're doing step work. They're reading the book. They're going to meetings, they're reading all the literature, and they just can't seem to get past this one big hurdle. I have a friend of mine. This person is actively an alcoholic. They'll tell you they're an alcoholic. They'll tell you they need to stop. They will tell you it's ruining their life. But they'll also tell you they just can't seem to get their head around this concept of God. I can relate. Many folks out there can relate to this. I remember when I first came into the rooms in 2013, I carried into those rooms all the definitions that I had spent my life defining about God and religion. I carried all those definitions with me into that room that night in 2013. And so when I heard these folks talk about God and spirituality and all these spiritual terms, I associated those terms with all those definitions I carried into the room with me that night. In other words, when I was a really young kid, my parents told me God loved me, God wanted the best for me. But my pastor was telling me that God was going to send me to hell for watching E.T. in the movie theater. I was pretty upset. Imagine my confusion. So I had this confusion as a really young kid that I grew up with, and I had all these people telling me I'm sinning if I thought this, and I'm sinning if I did that, and I was going to burn in hell. You worthless, no good piece of shit. I carried those definitions with me into that room in 2013. I heard them talk about God, and I said, yeah, I immediately associated those terms that they use with organized religion, with God, with the definitions I had been told to believe in from a very young age. No wonder I said, fuck this, I'm out. I went back out. And fortunately, my alcoholism beat me into a state of reasonableness where I finally came back in, thank God. But I want to point something out to you. Bill writes in the big book in chapter 4, on page 44, if a mere code of morals or better philosophy of life were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. Isn't that what religion is? Not to piss anybody off, not to get too deep, which I'm willing to, I guess, but isn't that what religion is? A code of morals? Isn't that why we have so many different denominations of religion? Because everybody has their own slightly variant code of morals. And so then that begs the question in my mind, if religion is a code of morals, and if code of morals were sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us were recovered long ago. Well, I considered myself religious because I was raised religious. I considered myself of having a code of morals. But Bill wrote that on page 44. If the code of morals was enough, if religion was enough, organized religion anyway, would we not have gotten sober long ago? So that told me right there when I first read that, something's different here. And then he goes on to talk about this on page 45. Bill talks about how when they're talking to people about recovery, people get really excited until, and he writes this on page 45, but his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God. The reason why is because we're hanging on to our own preconceived ideas, everything we had been told about God or church by everybody in our life up to that point, including our parents, including our pastors, including our spouses and our neighbors and our friends and our coworkers. Everybody else defined God in my mind, and I took that definition of God and spirituality and religion, and I carried it into a room of AA back in 2013. But in 2021, fortunately, I was able to read through this book and realize that those definitions that I had been told incorrectly. My friends are going to cringe when I say this, but it's like, I remember back whenever my doctor told me cholesterol was bad for me. And now my doctor's saying cholesterol is not bad for you. Our definitions can change. The key here is, if you want to get over this obstacle of God, this obstacle of spirituality, the key here is, and Bill points this out on page 47, he says, don't let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean to you. So in other words, when I walked in, I heard them talking about spirituality and higher power and God. I had to put those preconceived definitions on the shelf, or actually throw them in the fucking trash, and ask myself, what does God mean to me now? What does he mean to me now? Many times, Bill writes, many times when people presented us with spiritual approaches, how frequently did we all say, I wish I had what that man has. I'm sure it would work if only I could believe as he does. And then on page 49, Bill sums it all up for us very well in a sentence. We, who have traveled this dubious path, beg you to lay aside prejudice, even against organized religion. And that's why I brought up organized religion. I had to lay aside all my prejudices. When I heard terms of spirituality and God and all this stuff in these rooms, when I read about it in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I had to throw all those predefined definitions in the fucking trash. I had to throw them away and then ask myself what they meant to me. And that's where Bill comes up with the concept, or at least our own concept of God, our own conception of God. And that's how we make and establish that connection with God. Let me ask you this. Is it possible everything you've been told in your life about God, about religion, how those people that told you all those things, how do they know? I mean, what do they have, the proof? I mean, I understand they have experiences and stuff, but how do they know that their God is the same as your God and that your God is the same as their God? In my mind, I don't think God is worried about organized religion. I think God is worried about personal relationships with us, not organized religion. If people want to go out and have organized religion, that's their right, and by God, I support that. I 100% support that. I guess in a way, I kind of have my own idea of organized religion. But organized religion was not enough to get me sober. I know, because I grew up in organized religion. I still turned out as an alcoholic. But I tell you what, my personal relationship with my higher power, now that's a different story. And that's what I want to encourage you. Take all your predefined definitions, predefined ideas and attitudes about God, about religion, about spirituality, throw them in the trash and start coming up with your own conception of God and how to connect to a power that is greater than you. So with that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I cannot be any more appreciative. If there's a topic you'd like to have discussed, feel free to drop it into an email to me, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it, see what we can do. Please like and share these videos with your friends on Facebook. You can invite your friends to the Recovery Classroom Facebook page. And if you ever need to reach out, you can always private message the Recovery Classroom, and there's a whole shit ton of people on the back end there that'd be more than willing to sit and talk with you about whatever it is that may be troubling you. So that being said, let you go. We'll be talking again soon. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.